All right, picture this. It's June 23rd, 1780, in Springfield, New Jersey. British forces, under the command of Hessian General Wilhelm von Knyphausen, are making a final push to capture Washington and end the American Revolution. But what they didn't account for? The wild, unwavering spirit of the New Jersey locals and the Continental Army. Oh yeah, these guys were about to serve up a resistance buffet. Extra spicy, with a side of patriot sass. Now, here's how it all went down. Knyphausen, ever the opportunist, thought this was his big moment. The British had just taken Charleston, South Carolina, and he figured the Americans were in disarray, licking their wounds. So he decides, hey, let's go give George Washington a little surprise visit. His troops start marching toward Morristown, Washington's camp. Little did they know they were marching straight into a hornet's nest. As Knyphausen's troops approach, the militia in Springfield get wind of it, and they're like, oh, no way are we letting these guys roll up and take our town. And just like that, every able-bodied local grabs whatever weapon they can find. Muskets, pitchforks, probably even a couple of sharpened spoons, and heads to defend their turf. These guys aren't your typical soldiers. They're farmers, merchants, blacksmiths. But if you've ever tried taking something away from a New Jerseyan, you know that's a bad idea. So it's the morning of June 23rd. The British troops, fresh and ready for a fight, roll up to Connecticut Farms, now Union Township. They're expecting a quick sweep. They're not expecting what I call New Jersey hospitality, cannon fire and musket shots. The American forces, led by Nathanael Greene, have set up their defenses and they're dug in like ticks on a hound. As the British advance, they're hit with guerrilla-style ambushes from the locals. Farmers are popping out from behind trees, lobbing rocks, anything they can find. I mean, it's a mess, but it's effective. Knyphausen's men start realizing that these Americans, they don't play by the rules. And the British soldiers are scratching their heads like, wait, where's the battlefield? Where's the order? But the Americans are like, battlefield, order. Nah, we got trees, rocks, and a whole lot of attitude. By midday, the fight has moved into Springfield. Here's where the real showdown happens. Greene's troops have set up shop in the center of town, with artillery pointed at every British approach. It's like they turned Springfield into one big booby trap. Greene and his officers are running the show like the ultimate neighborhood watch. Alright, you take the church, I've got the schoolhouse. Keep an eye out for redcoats, or is it greencoats, and let them have it. And then comes the infamous Jersey roadblock. At Vauxhall Road, the Americans have set up this insane defensive line. The British try to push through, but the Continentals hold their ground, and it's like trying to punch through a wall. The British are throwing everything they have at it, but the Americans just won't budge. They're outnumbered, outgunned, but they've got one thing the British don't have, that good old-fashioned American stubbornness. There's this one story about Reverend James Caldwell, the fighting chaplain. He's there in the middle of the chaos, sees his men running low and wadding for their muskets, and what does he do? He grabs hymnals from the church, throws them to the soldiers, and shouts, "Give 'em Watts, boys!" As in Isaac Watts, the hymn writer. Yeah, they're literally using pages from church hymnals to fight off the British. Talk about divine intervention. Now, Knyphausen realizes this isn't going the way he planned. His troops are exhausted, morale's dropping like a rock, and Greene's forces just keep coming at them from every angle. Finally, after hours of brutal back and forth, Knyphausen decides to cut his losses. He orders a retreat, but before they leave, the British decide to torch the town of Springfield. Houses, shops, churches, they set the whole place ablaze in a parting act of spite. But here's the kicker: despite the fires, despite the destruction, the Americans don't lose heart. They may have lost their town, but they send a clear message. This revolution isn't going anywhere. And Knyphausen, he heads back to New York, probably wondering how he got bested by a bunch of farmers and hymn-singing soldiers. The Battle of Springfield didn't have the massive body count of some other Revolutionary War battles, but its impact was huge. It was one of the last major battles in the North, and it showed the British that even in what they thought was their backyard, they weren't safe from resistance. The Americans were done playing by British rules. From here on out, every inch of territory would be contested, every British advance would be met with American grit, and every red coat, green coat, and whatever coat would know that as long as there was a tree to hide behind or a hymn book to tear up, the Patriots were going to fight. And that, my friends, is how the Battle of Springfield went down. Not with grand armies, but with grit, creativity, and a whole lot of New Jersey attitude.